So what attracted you to the role of David in Travelers?
I believe it kind of started with Brad Wright, the creator of Travelers, who I had worked with on Stargate a number of years ago. And he wrote the role of David for me.
Oh, wow.
So I still had to audition, but during one of the auditions, he saw me sitting in my car. Before the audition, he came up to me and just said, "Oh, by the way, no pressure, but I did write this for you."
Terrifying.
I didn't believe him at first, but no pressure. So I went in and I auditioned, and I was lucky enough to get it. And so, I mean, it's not just that Brad wrote it for me, but it's Brad's writing altogether. Brad has a knack for fun dialogue, and he gave me so many fun lines that I just couldn't wait to get in front of a camera and play with it.
How do you think David will cope with Marcy's kind of memory overwrites in the second half of the series?
Man, this guy can't get a break.
I know, exactly.
I just got the first 3 scripts for season 2, so I got to really watch what I say. But I kind of liken it to the way that David has led his life up until then is a bit of a house of cards. Everything's so tidy. He lives by himself. It's very structured. He has his tea. And Marcy's transformation and then second transformation is kind of like opening up a window. It's nice to let some fresh air in, but it's going to have some repercussions on his house of cards. So I don't think well.
No, it was pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah, right? For that scene when we film where I walk in and she says, I hear we're close. Brad actually came down from the production office to watch us film that scene. I mean, we were all there was this sad kind of excited vibe about that one moment, especially that line. How heartbreaking is that line that she says?
So cruel.
Yeah, it was very cruel. So
Oh.
I actually got a text from from Mackenzie yesterday because we're reading these scripts, and she refers to something that happens in the beginning of season 2 and with a little sad face. And I'm like, right?
You're like, not more.
There's more. There's more
no.
trouble coming.
So what was it like to work on the first series of Travelers?
It was exciting because we were inventing something. We were doing something that, Stargate kind of had a tone established, and it had a fan base established. And so you go into a well-oiled machine and just kind of get swept along with the current. But with starting a new show, you're all kind of, I don't want to say making it up as you go, but you're inventing as you go. What's this character going to be like for an entire season, if not more? What's the tone of the show? What's the look of the show? I mean, everybody involved, and there's so many people involved in making the show. They're all creating something for the first time, and that's kind of exciting to have that sort of freedom, especially with Netflix. Netflix really, and Showcase, they really stayed out of the production's way.
Oh, wow.
And so it's refreshing, especially if you've worked in network TV, which, they've got their fingerprints on everything. So it was kind of an exciting exploration, exciting, not like Disneyland exciting, but exciting like an adventure, like, Lewis and Clark. Like we're not sure what's around the corner, but we're making this up, and we're just as curious as everyone else to see how it turns out. And I think we've all been really excited and pleased with the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, because
it felt like that all season.
Really? Wow. It's just such an original series as well, which is really refreshing.
Yeah, I had no idea that time travel was going to be so prominent. I mean, even yesterday I saw another 2 time travel shows are coming up. Like we've reached peak time travel. But I'm so lucky to be part of something that stands out. It's a little different from everything else. And I'm a huge time travel fan in pop culture. And so, I'm hyper aware of what's been covered in certain movies and TV shows. And this is it's a different take on it. It's a dark, twisted tale. And thank God that it's not, treading on stuff that's come before it and just repeating it.
Definitely.
It feels new.
Yeah. So do you have any funny stories from set at all?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're always laughing. I don't know if anything pops into mind. Nothing specific pops to mind. I mean, that was almost a year ago. But a lot of my stuff was with Mackenzie, and then I got some moments with Eric, and that was really exciting because when you're on a sitcom for as long as Eric was, you become, and I've worked with people on a very casual ways that have worked on sitcoms, and there's a polish to their timing and their comedy that you can only learn by going to the University of sitcom, which he's so sharp and so seamless and effortless, it seems, in his comedy. So I was really excited to look for him and to work with him. And it's a challenge to kind of be in these scenes because he'll say something funny and I'll immediately just want to laugh and be a part of the audience. But you got to remember you're in the scene with them. I know I'm not answering your question, but
that's fine.
I also just woke up and I'm kind of in the midst of a cold, but
oh no.
I can't think of anything specific, but yeah, I mean, it was always fun.
Yeah, it was weird seeing Eric in a sort of action role.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you get known for a certain type of role, and it's I think it's exciting for him to be able to show, no, actually, I've got a few more tools in my belt, and he's so good. And I've seen him on stage as well. He did David Mamet's Glenn Ross, and I saw that on stage. I guess that was about 5 years ago, before I actually knew Eric. And I mean, he's so talented. It's really obnoxious.
How rude.
Yeah. But, and getting back to your question, though, the tone of the show as well, I mean, there's so many, especially with Marcy and I, it was one catastrophe after another. So, you're trying to maintain that feeling on set of, the subject matter. And again, getting back to an earlier question, we were all so excited about what we were doing that we were giddy. So, I mean, there were lots of laughs and everyone was just, we've been texting each other nonstop since we got greenlit for a second season about like, when are you coming to town? When are we going to do this? And when are we going to hang out? When are we going to have
sleepover?
Yeah. So it's all going to start happening here in a couple of weeks.
Nice. So what would you like to see David in the next series, if you could write it?
Yeah, it's funny because people say, like, how much of David is you? And I said, well, quite a bit, but I think that I have less patience. I don't like people as much as David does. So Patrick would like to see David grow some balls and like,
Backbone,
get angry.
Yeah.
Get angry. Start asking questions. Stop acquiescing to, pretty girls. I'd love to see David be happy, but I don't know if that's in the cards.
Oh.
But I'd sure like to see him, that there was that scene where he gets fired and kind of blows up at his boss. And that kind of tapped into an anger that we hadn't seen in David, and a passion.
Yeah.
Almost like he's a powder keg. I'd like to see David go off again.
Yeah, there was that scene where he had the gun to his head, and I was like, oh, come on.
Oh, yeah. And he's still just fumbling his words, trying to think of the word for barrel. And I mean, he's such a fish out of water. He's so out of his element with what Marcy's brought into his life that you see yourself in that situation. You go, God, I think I'd hope I'd have the strength and the courage to try to fight that guy off. And maybe he did. I mean, he was quite beat up. So, the poor guy he doesn't know what to do. I mean, he's just so accustomed to having his tea and going to work and riding his bicycle. And now he's got guns to his head.
I think he needs a good holiday, I think, is what's good for him.
Doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
David. He's such a poor guy.
So, in comparison, what was it like to work on Stargate? Because that was such a big show, wasn't it?
It was a huge show, and it wasn't just the size of the production. I mean, there was so much involved. I mean, it was a huge cast to begin with. There was 9 main casts, and there was just like 4 or 5 of us supporting cast. But they had just come off 15 seasons of a show that was so drenched in lore and fan support that it was a bit of an uphill battle because they were reinventing the show, a little darker tone.
Yeah.
And we were also, wanted to win over people that wouldn't likely watch Stargate and also bring along the people that already love Stargate. And unfortunately, I think that's where the issue with Stargate universe rose, was people didn't want to watch it because, oh, no, I've heard of Stargate, I'm not interested. And then the people that love Stargate said, well, that's not Stargate. This isn't what we've been accustomed to for 15 seasons. But it was that same sort of feeling of let's do something different. And we were excited, especially that first season. I mean, it was so dark and everyone's trying to find their characters. But you're also part of something you're part of tradition. I keep using that word tradition, but There was definitely, it was the same writers, same directors, same sets, same crews. It was wonderful. It was a huge family, and a well-oiled machine. The production was just, it was so organized, and it was a bit of a dream. And I got to be part of that family, and still am part of that family. A lot of my best friends came out of that show.
Oh.
But it's kind of sweet. Did you ever watch it?
Yeah, we loved all the Stargates.
Yeah.
They were great. Yeah.
So yeah, it was exciting, and for me, it was a different journey because I started just as it was supposed to be just a few episodes, and they don't really tell you kind of what your character is, and so you're kind of finding it and picking out clues in your dialogue and actions to fill up this person you're trying to create. And as the season 1 progressed, and especially in season 2, they just gave me more and more to do, and it was a bit of a snowball. And I was really excited to see what would have happened in season 3. It was a wonderful learning experience. Met so many good friends. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be talking to you today, that's for sure.
So, obviously you've starred in a lot of, like, sci-fi shows. What are your favourite sort of picks from that genre?
I don't know, like, I'm a huge Indiana Jones nerd.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Nice.
anything to do with Indiana Jones, like, right now I'm just looking at something that arrived in the mail. It's Indiana Jones Monopoly.
What?
What? But yeah, I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, so I mean that's just
What
for
about
me.
number 4?
There wasn't a 4.
There
What?
wasn't a 4.
What are
Okay,
you
fair
talking
enough.
about?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
We'll talk about that.
I was very critical about the 4th one. It didn't have that same feel. I mean, that's a longer conversation.
Yeah,
I feel
sorry.
like they went from the serials to the kind of 50s sci-fi sort of thing, and I think that answered a lot of questions about why we love Indiana Jones. I think it had a lot to do with the 30s feel that serialized, and I think changing the genre to 50s sci-fi, I don't think it worked. I think it betrayed what we fell in love with it in the first place. But I could be wrong. I mean, it's so divisive.
Yeah.
But I love Star Wars, and like every red-blooded North American should. And as far as TV goes, I never really got into a lot of sci-fi TV. Lost. Did you ever watch Lost?
Yes, yeah. I tried to forget about the kind of last few episodes, though.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, the first 3 series were really great. Yeah.
So good. Oh my God, so good. But yeah, everything time travel up until about this year when we just got inundated with it.
Yeah, that was a bit weird, wasn't it?
But yeah, it's just, I guess, those things happen, but hopefully it'll get all weeded out, and hopefully travels will ride that wave and continue on.
Yeah, well, it's
But,
kind of
like Quantum Leap was a favorite of mine.
Yes,
Did you watch
fantastic.
Quantum Leap?
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah, I think that might be my favorite.
Okay. So you currently watching anything else on Netflix at all?
On Netflix, I started The Crown.
Oh, okay. Very British.
Oh, very British, yeah.
We're not all like that.
I love going back and finding old British shows. Not old British shows, but like, I fall in love with Doc Martin.
Oh, that was, yeah. I see where you're coming from.
It's such comfort food. So instead of going to bed after watching like Homeland and people being decapitated, I just throw on a little Doc Martin and I just feel cozy when I go to bed. And of course, I'm a Broadchurch fan.
Oh, that's back. Have you watched any of it yet?
Not the new stuff. I was in the American remake of it.
Oh, okay.
Grace Point, which only went for 1 season, but Broadchurch is, I mean, the casting is so good. Oh my goodness. But I'm not sure if that's on Netflix, because I kind of, I'm on my parents' Netflix account. Because I'm a 40-year-old man still living off my parents, clearly. I was huge into Stranger Things.
Yes, yeah.
So
excited.
I'm a kid from the 80s. So that was just right down my alley.
Did you watch the
there's
OA?
just too much. The which?
The OA. That was really good as well.
I haven't watched it yet. No. Have you?
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was really, really good.
Yeah, it's on my list, but there's just so much to.
Yes.
That's the problem I find with Netflix, is that there's just so much to choose from. I'm a hyperventilating kid in a candy store.
Exactly.
And I have to put the remote down and just take a breath, because I don't know where to begin.
It's like, you have to go to bed now. I can't watch any more Netflix.
Yeah, just one more Doc Martin and I'll have a lovely sleep. Or the Great British Bake Off. Come on.
Mary
Why
Berry.
didn't anyone tell me about this before it went away? Mary Berry, Paul Hollywood. Oh, and the hosts. got such a
Yeah.
crush on the host.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they just crack me up. Sense of humor, man, they're so funny.
Oh. So last one. Are you currently working on anything else, or is it all full steam ahead for the second series?
Right now, it's full steam ahead for season 2. We go to camera in a couple weeks, and so I'm studying and back at the gym and trying to make myself look presentable. Season 2 of You, Me, Her, which is a show that I pop on for the Audience Network, is currently airing. And it just started airing on HBO Canada. And I think it's the first season's on UK Netflix.
Okay. I want to check out then.
And that's it's a really cute show. It's really funny. It's about a relationship of, I don't even know the right term for it, but, 2 girls, 1 guy. Polyamorous. There it is. About a polyamorous relationship. And that's been a lot of fun. And they're doing a season 3. So hopefully I'll be able to come back for that. So. But aside from that, it's all travelers all the time now.
Can you give us a tiny snippet about anything from series 2?
It gets worse.
Oh, no. Okay.
Wait, let me clarify that. The show gets better. Situation for the characters gets worse.
So the quality doesn't get worse.
The quality is, I'm so excited because I'm flipping through these scripts faster than I can print them. And we're going to be hitting the ground running. We're very excited to get back and get these out and onto to Netflix for everyone to see.
Great. Wow. It's really looking forward to that. So thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you for taking the time.